Hi, hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here doing a video that I'm really excited about. Today is November 11th and GoodReads has put out their first initial list, the first voting for the GoodReads Choice Awards this year. I'm very excited for that. I thought it would be really fun to kind of go over everything together and kind of see what's on the list, see if there's anything that maybe I predict on the list, and do that today. And I'm really excited. It was released today. I thought it was gonna be released tomorrow. I'm so excited. I have a few predictions as to what is going to be on the list. I'd actually been planning on doing a GoodReads Choice Awards reading vlog. I did one earlier this year, or was it last year? I don't really remember, but they were books off of that list in each category. And I have some predictions for some because I already have a feeling I know what's gonna be on the GoodReads Choice Awards in each category, or a few different categories, I should say. And I kind of already have a tentative TBR. So if I had to take a guess right now, I would say in general fiction, Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid's gonna be on there. In, I would say probably fantasy, Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab should be on there. In horror, I think Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang is gonna be on there. And then if I had to guess as well, I think for thriller, Julie Chan is Dead is gonna be on there. That's my tentative TBR. That is what I would love to read because I've been wanting to read all 4 of those. I think that would be perfect. So that's kind of a little bit of my prediction, but let's go ahead, open up GoodReads and get to the voting page and kind of see what's on there. Hello. Let me make this a pinch bigger. 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm on the home page right now. It's the first thing you see is vote on the nominees. So let's open it up and check it out. Nominees on my shelves, I can already see I have Sunrise on the Reaping. That makes sense. Wild Dark Shore. So those are the ones I've already read, obviously. But let's go ahead and look. I don't think any of these categories have changed at all. These all look to be relatively the same. So let's just start with the fiction category. I don't think I've seen any of these. Frederick Bachman, My Friends, I've seen. The Names by Florence Knapp, I've seen. I read Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. That's probably the only one I would vote for because I've read it. Not seen Atmosphere, so that's I'm already off a little bit, so we'll move on. Maybe it's historical fiction. Okay, so we'll move on. But if I had to take a guess at which one would win out of this category, I would probably argue that Wild Dark Shore would, potentially. I think it might have the most ratings out of all of these. Maybe. This one only has 2,000 ratings and Wild Dark Shore has 200,000 ratings. So we'll see, maybe the Frederick Bachman, but I haven't heard of any of these other ones. First Daughters, I thought that just came out. Yeah, it only has 827 ratings. How is it already a part of the GoodReads Choice Awards? Interesting. All right, let's go ahead and move on to historical fiction. Ah, there's Atmosphere. I was a little nervous there. Okay, so that one will probably be in that reading vlog then. So Atmosphere is in historical fiction. Do I notice What Kind of Paradise? I've heard of good things about that one. I don't think I've seen any of these other ones. Broken Country, I've heard good things about. The Hounding is in historical fiction. Is interesting. I thought that was a horror. Okay, that's fine. I have that on my TBR as well. What is Amity? Oh, for some reason I thought that was going to be about something else. Again, if I had to guess here, I would say Atmosphere would probably win. Yeah, out of all of these. Okay, so Atmosphere is on here. That's good. That'll probably be in that video. Moving on to mystery and thriller. This is where I'm predicting that Julie Chan is Dead should be on here, right? Seeing a couple Frida McFadden's, which is crazy that she has 2 on here. Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney, I do have. Oh, Vera Wong's Guide to Snooping on a Dead Man is also on my TBR, which is great. Another Frida McFadden has 3 on here, which is crazy. And then the Reese Witherspoon book here also just got released. I feel like that's also a little bit wild that that's on here, but not seeing Julie Chan is Dead is kind of crazy to me. I feel like everybody talked about that one. Find that to be a little strange. Okay, so let's move on to romance, I guess. Romance-wise, I didn't really read a ton of romance this year, but I do have First Time Caller on my TBR, and I do want to get to First Time Callers. That would probably be a great option for me. The Favorites is another good one that I've heard really great things about. That'll probably win if I'm being honest, if I had to predict. Deep End I also have on my TBR, so I'm really excited to get to that one. Oh, If It Makes You Happy is not on my TBR, however, it is on my wish list. I do want to purchase that soon, so that would be really fun to get that one. Also, listen, these Dream Harbor books, gosh, this being the 5th one is kind of crazy. I never had the urge to read them, but then all of a sudden the other day I was like, I should read one. We'll see. If I had to guess again as far as romance goes, I would probably say The Favorites would probably win. I feel like so many people read that book and really enjoyed it this year. Maybe something else, who knows? But again, if I had to choose from here to read a book from this category, although First Time Caller is on my TBR, like I have it physically, I really do want to read If It Makes You Happy. I don't know, we'll see. But let's go ahead and move into the romantasy category then and kind of take a gander here. I've heard of a lot of these, which is good. I feel like I didn't hear a lot of the other ones. Mate just came out as well. I've heard incredible things about it. I don't really want to read it, like I have no urge to. I did enjoy Bride, but I have like no real urge to read Mate. I've heard of great things about Shield of Sparrows from Devney Perry. Again, I don't know quite yet. Enchantra, I still have to read Phantasma, so I'll get on that. I'm so happy to see an Emily Wilde here though, because I read the first book and was obsessed with it. I cannot wait to continue the trilogy. I also do own A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping, so that could be a really great option as well for me. Onyx Storm being on here really just annoys me. I think it's probably going to end up winning. Look at that rating count. Almost 2 million ratings is insane. Like that's probably going to win. I do also own Alchemized, but that is a very large book, so I don't know if that's quite an option yet. I'm still very nervous about that one. But this is a pretty great category. I mean, I feel like I could easily see Onyx Storm winning, unfortunately. If I had to vote in this category, although I haven't read any of these, I'd potentially do Shield of Sparrows, because I've heard a lot of people talk about that one. Or, I mean, Emily Wilde. Obsessed with Emily Wilde. Okay, let's move on to the actual fantasy category then. Watermoon being in here is crazy. I've heard nothing but terrible things about Watermoon. Oh, but thank goodness, Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil is here. Okay, so that will definitely be on that TBR. So far, I've seen Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil and Atmosphere. So I'm gonna probably have to figure out if I do a thriller or if I just change completely. But I'm glad to see that. Alchemy of Secrets I do own. I actually got that from Book of the Month, so I'll have to check that out. I was interested in The Devils by Joe Abercrombie, but I don't know, I've never read a Joe Abercrombie before and I'm a little intimidated, if I have to be honest. The Strength of a Few being on here is also kind of crazy. Yeah, it has 400 ratings. I don't even think it's been released yet. I have The Will of the Many on my wish list, but that's crazy. It hasn't even been released yet. And then I'm pretty sure Brigands and Bread Knives was also just released. How does this GoodReads, how does the Choice Awards work? I'm so curious because that doesn't make any sense. Catabasis is on here. I kind of feel like that would potentially win. I don't know. I kind of feel like Bury Our Bones would win too, if I had to guess. I don't know any of these other ones, except for the Brandon Sanderson, which also could potentially win. But if I had to guess, I would say Bury Our Bones would win. Moving on to the science fiction category, I don't really read a ton of science fiction, although a few of these have caught my eye before. For example, The Dream Hotel, I have that on my wish list. I feel like it just sounds so interesting. It's about a woman who her dreams are under surveillance and she goes to this, I'm assuming this hotel where a lot of people's dreams are under surveillance, and I find that to be so fascinating. So that is on a wish list. Oh, The Compound. I did read The Compound though, which I guess that is science fiction. I enjoyed it. I mean, I would probably vote for that solely just based on the fact it's the only one I've read. I've also heard really great things about The Poppy Fields by Nikki Ehrlich. I think we've been here before. I've never heard of this. That sounds really interesting. And then I've also heard really good things about When the Moon Hits Your Eye, which looks incredible. But yeah, I'm not too, what's The Merge? Again, none of these really catch my eye too much. I'm not a huge science fiction reader, but I probably will vote for The Compound just to vote for something. Oh, let's move on to horror. I'm so excited for horror. All right, looking at horror here, I'm not shocked I have read, I don't know if I've read all of these, but I've seen most of these. Immaculate Conception. I do not own this one in particular from Ling Ling Huang. I do have Natural Beauty though on my TBR, which I do want to get to. I've heard nothing but great things. I just recently read Play Nice by Rachel Harrison. I did really love that one. I do own Chuck Tingle's. I think I own most of these. Well, not any in the second row, but most of these. I do own Chuck Tingle's Lucky Day. It's a short horror. That's a great option. I also own Blood on Her Tongue. Buffalo Hunter. Stephen Graham Jones really makes me nervous. I have a few of his books on my TBR. I've read a book or two by him. I don't know. He's just an author I'm not sure of yet. What Hunger, We Love You Bunny is probably not going to win. Stephen King, I think Stephen King wins every year, so I'm not going to be shocked if Never Flinch wins. Is this another Holly one? Maybe. How Bad Things Can Get. I do love Darcy Coates. I have no plans on reading that one quite yet, though. I've heard great things about Breathe In, Bleed Out, which is on my list. The Haunting of Payne's Hollow I'm interested in. Coffin Moon I'm interested in. There it is. Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang. Thankfully, that will definitely be on the TBR then. I did read Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. Loved that. The Bewitching. Pain, Hungerstone. I don't own either of these, but I do own When the Wolf Comes Home. I just recently read it, Nat Cassidy too, it was great. And I do own You Weren't Meant to Be Human, which that book actually freaks me out. I don't know if I'm ready to read that one quite yet. But also on here we have The Lamb. That's a different cover, no? I'm interested in that one, but I've seen a different cover for that. And then I am not interested in The Possession of Alba Diaz. I read one Isabel Cañas, and it was more historical fiction than scary to me. So I'm glad to see Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang on here. I actually do have, I own quite a few. Like I could do a whole horror Goodreads one definitely, because I have Lucky Day, I have Blood on Her Tongue, I have Bat Eater, and I have When the Wolf Comes Home and You Were Meant to Be Human. That's a thought. If I had to vote for any of these though, well, I've only read one, Play Nice, so I guess I would vote for that. That's a bummer. I need to read more. Moving on to debut novel. I haven't seen Julie Chen, and that makes me kind of like sad. This is the reader's favorite debut novels. Alchemized, I own. Aftertaste, I've heard a lot of people talking about Aftertaste. I don't know if I'm interested in it, but I've heard a lot of people talking about it. I don't think oh, I love When the Tides Held the Moon. I've heard good things about this one too. I like that one a lot. What is that, Woodworking? Never heard of that. Following a trans high school teacher from small town South Dakota befriends the only other trans woman she knows, one of her students. That sounds incredible. The only one I know about, I haven't read any of these, is Alchemized. So we're moving on. Audiobook, I really can't attest to because I don't listen to audiobooks, but if any of these are great, I'm sure it's probably the Pride and Prejudice one, honestly. I'm sure Alchemized is great as well. I'm sure Atmosphere is great. I'm sure all of these are great. I'm interested to see which wins in the audiobook category. Young adult fantasy and sci-fi. Okay, so I have Hazelthorn. I'm really nervous about it because I wasn't the biggest fan of Don't Let the Forest In, but I do own that. Other than these are like continuations in series, which I have the first ones of. Like I have Shatter Me, and I also have Heartless Hunter, which I am reading Heartless Hunter this year, so that's exciting. Let's see, Immortal Consequences. I do own Immortal Consequences. I love this. Hecate. I really like that one. Interesting. Sunrise on the Reaping is probably going to win though, if I had to guess, right? Yeah, definitely. Young adult fiction. Oh, I love the covers of these. They're so dang cute. I don't know if I've read any of these. Oh, they're all so cute. Fake Skating, obsessed. I don't know if I had to take a guess on any of these winning. Maybe Fake Skating from Lynn Painter, but also, I don't know. I'm not gonna read any of these. And then nonfiction, I'm also not gonna read, but I do kind of want to just peek in here and see which nonfiction books were put up. You didn't hear this from me, what's that? Interesting. Are You Mad at Me? What's this? I need that. Cure for Chronic People Pleasing? Maybe I should be reading that because, oh my gosh, I need that. I always think everyone hates me. One Day Everyone Will Always Have Been Against This. I've heard that's absolutely incredible. If I had to guess though, I would say either The Let Them Theory or Everything is Tuberculosis was going to win. Although the Idaho 4 being on here makes me so sad. I feel like that was just so recent. Moving on, we have memoirs. Again, no plans on reading these, but I do want to see who wrote some memoirs this year. Oh, Alison Stoner did. Interesting. That Sherry Frank one is probably going to win. I've seen so many people talk about that one. So there's that. And then I guess history and biography. These are like my boring categories I guess we're looking through. No plans on reading any of these. Yeah, those look great. Okay, so I'm kind of bummed, if I had to be honest. Julie Chen is Dead is not on here, and so therefore I have to kind of rework my tentative TBR. I'm glad to still have seen Atmosphere and Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, as well as Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang, but I am gonna have to kind of peek around and maybe see, do I want to touch like a romantasy category? Do I want to stay in that thriller category? Because I do have other books in the thriller category. Or do I want to maybe see if there's anything else that I have that kind of goes? I want to do one per category. I don't want to like dip my toes into two per category. Although I did say the horror ones. I do own quite a bit of those. Interesting choices for some of these this year. And you know, like I said, if I had to guess, the Stephen King's gonna win, which is kind of unfortunate because that horror category is actually popping this year. There's a lot of incredible books on that. But I'm interested to see who wins. Let me go ahead and look and see winners of 2024 because I kind of don't remember. Okay, so The Wedding People won in fiction. The Women from Kristen Hanna won historical fiction. The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. I did read that one. That was mystery and thriller. Have I read any of these other ones? No, I didn't read any of these other ones. The only one I read out of all of these is The God of the Woods. I do own Funny Story, The Women, and The Wedding People. Eventually I'll probably own Somewhere Beyond the Sea, House of Flame and Shadow, and The Ministry of Time. Time and Ruthless Vows because I have all the first ones for those. That's kind of crazy. Those are all like sequels. Interesting. So it looks like the voting schedule, the opening round is right now. The final round is November 26th through December 1st, and then the winners are going to be announced December 5th. So I'm really interested to see who wins. Let me know who you would vote for in each category. I'll probably get my votes in right now, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. I like looking over stuff with you guys. I thought this would be kind of a fun video. Go ahead and subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.